Hi, my name is Don Schmitt. I'm an interior designer in Cleveland, Ohio. And as many of you probably know by now, I've been having conversations with a lot of very interesting people who make their home in Cleveland. And recently, a photographer, a very important photographer in the city of Cleveland, Larry Coleman, showed me photographs of a project he was working on, and I was fascinated by the photographs. They were shocking at first, and then the more I looked at them, it was like exquisite taste and just an amazing eye for classic elements and put together in such a beautiful way. And so, being a designer, I wanted to find out who this person was and find out more about her. And I found out that her name is, and it's a difficult one for me to say, Dee Piper Anne Snowholly. I said it without lisping or slurring my words. Dee Piper Anne Snowholly. And I'm here today. I've made her acquaintance, and I'm here in her home today, and it's everything I imagined it would be, and really more. And I asked Dee if she would be on camera with me so we could talk about who she is and why she's in Cleveland and what is her aesthetic and all that kind of stuff. And this is Dee.
Hello.
I thank you so
Hi.
much for being willing to allow us to come in and enjoy the comfort of your home, and it is so comfortable and it just feels good.
Oh, thank you.
Now you're an artist,
Yes.
and you studied at Kent State,
Yes, I did.
and you are a muralist by trade.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
today you are kind of just a free spirit doing your art and being creative and living a rich and full life right here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
And it's evident because there's a good vibe, a good feeling when I walked into your house.
Oh,
And interestingly, I didn't know, but if you would, share with us a little bit about the front entry and how you did the paneling in there, because I felt the same thing walking in that you described to me. So would you share that story with us again for our viewers?
oh, okay. I was telling Don that the vestibule, the little place where you first come in the front door, it was very plain and very stark when I moved in here, but I found in an antique shop some big oak panels. And I didn't know it at the time, but the panels just felt holy. You could just feel this wonderful positive energy flowing off of these oak panels. And when I talked to the gal in the antique shop, she said, "Oh, well, those came out of a very old convent." And so I thought, well, it must have been all the prayers and all the good energy from the nuns, and you could just feel it pouring out of the paneling, and that's what I have in my entrance hall, so that when you come in, you do feel warm and welcomed.
And I experienced that, and I didn't know the story, so I wasn't influenced by the story,
Uh-huh.
which makes it real.
Right,
you
right.
know and the other thing about your house that I'm finding very interesting, and this is from a designer's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I am very talented and I have a very good eye, and that's not my ego, it's just a fact.
Right.
And I walked in and I'm looking around, and with a critical eye, thinking, well, I'll see something around here that doesn't resonate or feel right.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't found it yet.
Oh.
And there's a lot here, and I'm sure that for some people it would be overwhelming initially. But tell me, what is the response you get from people when they come into your home with regard to the continuity of the pieces and your aesthetic? Because I would imagine at first there's a little bit of a surprise, but then what happens?
People love it. They come in and they're like, wow, this is really wonderful, and it feels good.
Uh-huh.
And that's how I like to have rooms feel. I like to have them feel good, and I get a lot that it looks like a museum.
Uh-huh.
And oh my gosh, how do you dust all of this? And I think a lot of people are worried about dusting, and they don't like to have a lot of stuff around. But I love having things around. I don't know. They just they're fun to look at. They entertain my eye, and that's.
Now, when you find things, what is the what would you say? You find something, and what happens? You immediately have a knowing, or you what?
Yeah, I do. I like to go antique shopping or just junk shopping or whatever. And if I find a piece that is like, wow, I love that piece. I have to have it. And even if I don't know where I'm going to put it or what I'm going to do with it, I'll get it, and it will find its place.
Now, see, I'm glad we have this on tape, on video, because I say that to my clients all the time. If you love it, get it.
Right.
It doesn't matter where it's going to go. If it's something that you love, a place just appears.
That's
and it's
right.
so amazing how that works.
Mm-hmm.
And your house is a testament to the fact that it doesn't matter how much, if you love it, it still evolves and finds a place.
That's right.
Now, what is it that you're doing these days as a career? I mean, are you working as an interior designer, as an artist, a muralist? What are you doing mostly these days?
Well, mostly these days, I sort of took a hiatus a few years ago and just wanted to concentrate on my house, because I was doing murals for other people, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, you must have this beautiful house with all these paintings." It's like, no, I don't, because I'm
You don't have
busy
time,
painting
yeah.
everybody else's place. But I just really wanted to have just a wonderful home and wanted to concentrate on that. And there's been a lot of things that I've done. The walls had no paint when I moved in, nothing in it.
So you are available, though. Would you make yourself available
Yes,
if somebody
I would.
called and said, I want you to help me stage my home, or help me put my collection together in
Sure,
a way that's more whimsical or appropriate?
I'd love
Because
to do
I
that.
see that in all of your collections, that they're very appropriately styled, which is pleasing to my eye. And if it's pleasing to your eye, and I'm sure that when things are put together appropriately, as you know and I know, with regard to scale and just how it feels,
Right.
it's a successful interior design project.
That's right. That's
you know?
right.
And it's not rocket science, although anyone who might hire us, we would want them to think it's rocket science.
Right.
But the truth is, it's more about a knowing or a feeling. I love looking up the staircase when I walked in, and there's a knight in shining armor there at the top of the stairs. Now, what's the story on that?
That, the knight, his name is Norbert. I name all kinds of different pieces in here. And ever since I was a small child, I remember watching Please Don't Eat the Daisies. And they lived in this house, and it had a suit of armor in it. And I have always wanted to have a suit of armor in my house. So I decided to get one. And I guess I always wanted to live in a castle, because I like that feeling. I don't know. It just...
I always liked the idea of living in a palace, so it's the same
Okay.
idea. You know? The same idea. But it's wonderful, and it feels so right there. You know, it's just standing there, and it feels protective and
Yes.
guarding,
Yes.
as though it's protecting a part of the house. Also, I love the dining room and the collection of pieces in the dining room.
Oh.
It's so inviting, and yet it doesn't really feel like a dining room either. It's very, very comfortable to walk into that space.
It's funny you should say that, because I had a friend visiting last week, and she was standing in the dining room, and she says, "Dee, where's your dining room?" I said,
You're in it.
I said, "You're in it. You're standing next to the dining room table."
Yeah, I love how you've done that, and I like the way that you applied the window, the red on the window, and how the light filters through that. I mean, that's so beautiful. And going from there into your kitchen, which is so charming, and to find out that almost everything in the kitchen is trompe l'oeil or painted by you. And it's so beautiful. And the collection of blue glass on the window, it makes my heart sing. It just is so bright and cheerful and energizing.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
and I'm a very strong believer that, you know, color affects how we feel, how we think, how we operate in the course of a day. And I have to believe that blue gives you the energy you need every day.
It does. I have always been very passionate about cobalt blue. I love the intensity of the color and the richness, and I love cobalt blue glass, and it shows so well in front of a window because
Yeah.
it's like magic.
Yeah,
Almost.
and that's
It's
exactly it. It's like magic,
Mhm.
and it's something that I was very aware of. And I'm sort of waxing on and on here about how wonderful everything is, but I'm very sincere. I rarely get this excited about
Oh.
somebody else's work, you know, when mine is okay, pretty good actually, but yours is, this is so much fun.
Oh, I
And
thank
then
you.
these other rooms, this house is such a wonderful house. Tell me, how did you find this house? What happened? I mean, how you said you've been here 7 years,
I've been here 7
and
years.
it has such a wonderful energy and so many wonderful details. The typical home you find in Cleveland, Ohio, you know.
Mhm.
But how did you find it?
Well, I was looking for a house and had looked at quite a few of them, and there was always something that wasn't right or that I didn't like, but we just happened to drive by this house, and they had the little mailbox on the tree lawn, and it had a picture of the dining room in it, and I saw that dining room, and I'm like, this is it. This is where I need to be. This is my house. And when we were closing the deal and I was talking to the gal that lived here, she said, well, you know, Dee, I'm a nurse and I also do Reiki. And Reiki is a very positive energy transfer. And she says, I did energy on the box that held the flyers because I wanted just the right person to be living in here. She says, and then here you came along. So that was really wonderful to hear.
And it's evident that it's the right house. It feels so good. The other area of the house that intrigues me is it's an extension of the kitchen, where you have your collection of cake plates and all the pieces, parts, and the pots and pans and the wonderful pieces, parts in there. And it's so eclectic, and yet it all feels good.
It
And
does.
so there's something there that ties it all together. What would you say that is? I mean, what is it that ties it all together?
I think just the fact that everything in that room is something that I really love and I like to be surrounded by, like all of the copper. I've always loved copper pieces, and I think they just feel very warm and wonderful, and just finding things that I think will fit in there. You know, it's just kind of like a little journey that you go on, looking for the right piece. And I always have my eye out for something.
And you have wonderful pieces of furniture that you've actually painted.
Yes.
And they're just exquisite patterns and colors and finishes on these pieces. And you actually hand paint rugs as well.
Yes,
And,
canvas rugs.
yeah, and they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. I cannot think of a home that I've been in ever that feels so warm and right.
Oh, that's
And I've been in a lot of beautiful homes, and I've designed many, many beautiful homes. This is an example of what can happen when you forget about convention and you go at life with a passion, and you bring into your life those things that you love.
right.
And that's the only requirement. The only criteria is, do I love it? Yes, I do. There will be a place for it, and it will fit, and it will resonate, and it'll be wonderful. And you're proof of that. And I'm so psyched because I tell people that all the time, and rarely do they believe me.
Mm-hmm.
But you're my evidence.
Oh,
You're my
that's
evidence.
wonderful.
I thank you so much for allowing me to come in today. I'm
Oh,
delighted
you
to
are
meet
more
you.
than welcome. It's
And
been wonderful.
it's been just a very delightful afternoon for me. Thanks so much.
Oh, well, thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.